Hello, my TrimTower peeps. So I've got some announcements for you today, some new products, and I'm showing you guys first so you get a chance to check them out and buy them if you want before it gets launched to the general public. So get right into it. So the first couple things I got are TrimTower extensions. I know a lot of people are asking about that, or tall trim towers. So, but the TrimTower extensions, I got a 12 centimeter, which adds about 50% to the original trim tower, and then I also got a 22 centimeter, which effectively doubles the height. And as you saw, these just slide right on. It's a friction fit, but they fit on really good, so they're not going to pop off while you're using them. To get them off while it's attached to the wheel, it's easier, but you just kind of take your fingers and slowly slide them up like that. But yeah, and then there's also an extension for the TrimTower Junior. So that adds about 60–70% height onto there. Just like that. Works the same way. The big announcement though is the Chum attachments. So the Chum is kind of like a chuck, but it's the kind that goes up and you put the pot over it. It's called Chum. Some people call it reverse chucks. I think I've heard another name or two for it as well. But that's what these are. And so I know a lot of people, you know, when they think of a Chum, they think of some sort of shape like this or an enclosed shape. But since these aren't made of clay and you don't have to worry about warping and deforming, that's really the reason why people made these clothes, is so they'd keep their shape well. But you don't really need that. So I actually found that straight walls pieces with this angle actually hold the pot the best. And these are all made out of a carbon fiber PETG filament. So that carbon fiber adds a nice grippy texture to this. And that in combination with the print lines, they actually hold pots really, really well, like better than anything I've ever used before. Even a little thing like this, I'll show you later, you can put a big old base on it and it will hold, and you can trim it just like you would normally. So these will be good for, you know, people that just like to use Chums for things like cups and things, or if you've got a bigger piece that maybe has an off, you can't fit it into a chuck, or it's got, you know, weird neck or something like that. You know, you have a different option now. So these are going to come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. I do have the cone shapes for people that want that. But most of them are going to be straight like this. Like I said before, they work really good. So like this is a set right here where you could get this whole set and you'd cover all your sizes from that all the way up to that. And then I got other sets where it's basically the same thing, just the range is a little different. So, you know, some people might take measurements and realize, oh, the most common thing I throw is going to fit like in the middle of this size, in the middle of this size. But if you get a set of these, it'll cover the range all the way from small to big with overlap. So, and these short ones are really designed in mind for people that make small things like cups and things, because you can have a whole set and, you know, you can use it on each and you never have to worry about it bottoming out if you're making small things or anything like that. But then I've also got some, they're a little bigger if you want to cover a little bit more range. And also some ones that are just simple domes. So these might be good for if you wanted to put a lid on there and do some trimming on it, or just kind of odds and ends, things like that. I know every once in a while I could use a shape like that when I'm trying to work on something. So as you can probably tell, these size all fit on the TrimTower Junior. So if you've got the Junior, all you need is, this is a locking ring that locks these on, because if you're using this, you wouldn't want it to come loose like that. So these just slide on, and that locks it in place, and easily comes off. So you can switch out the pieces back and forth, no problem. If you don't have a TrimTower Junior and you want to use these, you do have a couple other options. There's now I smell this Junior Mini base. So it's the same base and top as the TrimTower Junior, just a lot shorter. So if you didn't want it elevated, or if you didn't own a Junior but you wanted to use these and you wanted to have it close down to the wheel, you just use this, and it works the same exact way. The other option is, if you've got a regular size TrimTower and you want to use these, you can just get an adapter, fits in there, and then the lock ring is a little different. It slides on the same way. So, you know, if you wanted to trim your cups a little higher, you could use this, or if you didn't want to get the Junior, you could use that. There's also these large size Chum pieces that come all the way down to a skinny little piece up to this. So, you know, if you had some big thing that had a big opening, you could use this to trim it. If you couldn't fit it in here, or, I mean, there's a lot of different things you could use these for. And they're all these is the same black carbon fiber filament. So they're going to be a little bit more expensive because of that compared to like the regular grips, and there's more plastic, but you know, they'll last a lifetime. So oh, and there's also the short version, the regular TrimTower. So if you wanted to use these but didn't want it elevated, you could get, this is called the lowrider, and they just lock on just like the regular TrimTower, just like that. The other good thing that this base is good for, and actually the reason why I designed it in the first place, was for people that use the TrimTower to trim platters and things, with like one of these grips. So if you're trimming platters, this just puts it a lot lower on your wheel if you don't want it up high, but it's still high enough that it's going to clear your splash pan. So that's all the new stuff, but I'm going to do some demo videos now for you guys to watch. After you watch them, please let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything I didn't cover, or if there's other ideas for trim chums you'd like to see, or just other ideas for accessories you'd like to see. So thanks, and I'll talk to you guys later. So here I'm going to trim just a simple shape on one of the Chum grips. So this is the TrimTower Junior Mini. The locking ring on, and then you can see even so this one is just hitting on the top, but even there it sticks on really good. And, you know, the nice thing about the Chums is you can work all the way down the pod and even hit the lip, like which you can't do if you have it in a chuck, or if you've got a piece like this that's straight walled that won't fit in a chuck. But anyways, just to show you, minimal marks in there, but holds it on really nice and firm. Now I'll do a different shape. So with this one, I show you, with one of these little guys, you can even trim really big things. So this is about a foot tall. It's a lot of clay, because I have to throw them thick for my trimming. But I want to show you that even a big tall piece like this can work on a Chum, on one of these Chums, because it holds it so good. So look, I can put, trim on the side and putting a decent amount of pressure. I'm not being delicate, and it's not moving or wobbling at all. So I think these Chums are going to be a lot more versatile to people than like the normal classic Chums are. And here I just wanted to show you guys what it's like using the regular size TrimTower. So, you know, one of the nice things about this, if it's important to you, is that it raises it up. So if you're, you know, especially if you're trimming smaller things, you get a better angle and you don't have to lean over as much. And I find that, you know, they adjust pretty easy on there, and I just give them, you know, a little tap down to secure them once I got them in place. So yeah, so there you go.